Okay, so welcome back. We're back from our short break. I had another work meeting to attend to, of course, because I'm a very important person. Totally didn't just get food outside to quickly eat because I'm hungry all the time. But when we last left off, we were kind of bashing on some established, much loved characters that the author had created in her previous trilogy. So instead of backtracking, I'm gonna go full force head on and bury myself. So basically, Layla and Roth. I feel like my sister said, we're supposed to know everything about them already. And I instead of like having this feeling that oh, these are great characters who have their own identity. I mean, I do feel that they have their own identity, but there, in addition to that, I also feel like I'm just missing something. I feel like I'm missing something that is supposed to make them likable because every other character keeps saying, "Oh, Layla's awesome. She's the best. She's the greatest." Roth, oh my god, hilarious guy, super passionate, super loving. Wow, fantastic. And I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay, I see that they like each other. I see that, they clearly know each other. But then otherwise, I guess maybe because I'm seeing everything through Trinity's point of view. Um, but I just don't see how they're likable. The entire time I'm just thinking, yo, like just leave Zane and Trinity alone. You know,
Yeah.
they're good people. Let them be. Why do you guys have
And
to butt in? You
and
know,
here's my 2 cents in it. And maybe it's 50 cents because it's a lot.
it's a lot of sense.
Um yeah.
But
But
does it make any sense?
no, but daddy jokes aside, it's
Okay.
it's just that the author, or at least in this sense, they're really pushing for these characters to be lovable even in
Yeah.
this book.
Hmm.
But they come out as, the antagonists. I mean, they're kind of messing up the dynamic between the two. And later on,
Yes.
like in the second book, like is even more annoying.
Mm. Hmm.
Because for
Hmm.
this one, so for the first book, so Layla is introduced and there's like an awkward tension between her and Zayn.
Hmm.
So you'll
Oh wait, can you
eventually
quickly
see,
wait? Can you explain why there's an awkward tension? I don't think we covered
yeah,
their history.
that's true. So I'm gonna say that. So eventually, you'll find out there was a love triangle between Layla, Roth, and Zayn. So Zayn grew up with Layla, and the reason why his eyes are the big, they were emphasized throughout the book how it's a unique shade, and the
Hmm.
reason is because part of his soul was taken out by Layla. So they tried to have a relationship, like she kissed him and absorbed his soul because she's half demon and
Mm.
she doesn't know how to control her powers because she was raised in the warden community as well. So it's kind of implied that it was Roth who opened the world for her.
Hmm.
But the thing is, like that first meeting between Trinity and Layla, like as the observer, because you're reading it as her
Yeah.
perspective, she
Yeah.
even felt like Layla was jealous over
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
And for me, that doesn't imply that her and Roth have this great love story because she still has these conflicted feelings towards
Yeah.
Zayn. And you kind of feel that like Roth still
Mm.
has that insecurity. Like
Mm.
he doesn't move on until he's sure that Zayn finally loves like figures out his feelings with Trinity. But that's wrong.
Hmm.
Like if you're
Yeah, it
going
is.
to sell their own trilogy that they are the love match, like she chose him,
Yeah.
it's just that doesn't work for me because I mean this is
Mm.
part of the reason why I avoid teenage
Yeah. Hmm.
romances. The trilogy, I mean not the trilogy, the
The,
triangle bothers me
wait,
so
that's
much.
why her name is Trinity because of the love triangle or the love
Yeah,
trinity.
because she wanted to break the trinity. Like what?
Boom.
No. So
That's
so anyway,
think outside the box.
that or think very inside the box and quite literally. Anyway, let's just set aside his jokes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ignore them as I usually
Yeah.
do. It was just so wrong to me because Roth kind of warns Trinity, I guess. I mean, of course that had to be the plot, like, like kind of the angst between the couple. That Layla chose Roth only because she loved Roth a bit more than Zayn. And that's just messed up to me. Like, um, I just
Hmm.
felt so much like I know I was supposed to feel uh like sad for Zayn and whatever,
Hmm.
but I felt bad for Roth. I'm just like, wow, you really love her
Yeah.
that you're settling this much, because
Yeah.
that's such a doormat move. Like, but she
Yeah.
loves me more, so I just want him to move on so she can also move on. So I'm just like,
Yes.
what? So even that she hasn't moved on.
Yeah.
So it's just a mess.
Mm. It is a
And
mess, and the thing is, we just disagree philosophically with the author in this case, because I think the author believes that you can love two
yeah,
people at the
that's
same
true.
time, and that's fine. It's okay to believe that, but just we
It's
were not raised
preference.
that way. We were not raised that way,
Yes.
so we just don't. So for us, when we see a love triangle, we normally just think, okay, so that means, okay, so whoever is at the crux of the love triangle, whoever is the hypotenuse of the love triangle, I don't know what. So in this case, that would be Layla. Like, let's say it's Layla, right? It just means she doesn't love either of them all that much. For us, like
Yeah.
that's our,
Like,
like that's how
for because
we
for
view it.
me, the one that I got is that Roth just helped her accept her demon side,
Mm,
and like gave her more freedom, and really, because Zayn is kind of the uptight one in the, like, that's the storyline.
mm,
uh and he's so protective of her and everything, and
yes.
Roth just let her so that's the implication. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
so basically you're just thankful for what he provided for your life, but not
Yeah.
necessarily. So if Zayn did the same thing, you would choose Zayn.
Hmm.
So that, for me, that was just kind of confusing. And then Zayn's whole reason why he's so isolated and everything, just this, that it felt like you need to explain this more, because it's um I mean, even if that is on in Layla and Roth's book, it's just kind of jarring to just start off with Zane's backstory that way, because even he kind of doesn't really understand. Oh, I just left my entire family
Yeah.
because they didn't accept Layla, but Layla left me and I'm pissed at her. And I'm just like, so why would you leave your family?
And another thing, speaking, that's, I thank God you mentioned the family aspect. So
Yeah.
we are both very family oriented. I think we care a little bit about our families. We do care for them. We like spending time with our family.
Why do you say that with
Um,
a wink wink? Like,
yeah, like, no, not really. But anyways, so for us, it's very easy for us to read a book or watch a movie or anything, and then see, okay, so the person who wrote this doesn't really have a traditional family, or doesn't have a very close relationship with their family. I'm getting a lot of those vibes from Storm and Fury. I don't know about the other books by the author, but in Storm and Fury, okay, so she didn't cry when her mom died. So that was the first red flag. Next thing, Zane Zane left the clan, like his clan, because they were mean to Layla, and then but he's pissed at Layla, as you said. But are we ignoring the fact that his dad died? Like
yeah.
in the whole, you know, whatever, like, shenanigans that they got up to. His dad died. So but it seems like, and he's like, nah, that Layla thing though. And like, Your dad died, man. You should care a little bit more about that. Talk to me
Yeah.
about your daddy issues
And
instead.
and the problem with that, I'm not sure if it was in the first book. You can tell me, like, did they talk about why his dad died there
Why didn't
and
his
how
dad
the
die
no, but
because
did they talk about the dad didn't accept Layla or something? So is that in the first book? Because I can't remember if it's
the
in the
dad he did mention like the dad wasn't a big fan of Layla. That's true.
okay. Yeah. So that kind of that is the basis of his kind of
But okay, but
dynamic, like
no, no,
this
no. But
torn
this
dynamic with his
girl,
dad.
this
Yeah.
girl doesn't love you back like properly,
Exactly.
and you are more heartbroken about that than your dad dying. Okay, see again, this is the way we were raised, but I thought I imagined that you have some measure of affection for your father, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that the whole I don't know, family or familial dynamics that they have in this book is kind of skewed and it's out of whack,
Yeah,
really.
because it also implies that typical in these species kind of settings
Yeah.
that family, clans, kin, those sort of things, they're very important because it's like it's a
Yes.
matter of survival. The fact that you're gonna isolate yourself, something has to be really traumatic, like that you'll just sever all your relationship. But here, it's like he's still so close with them and they love him, even though he kind of chose the other side, just for Layla. So
Yeah.
for me, I just would wouldn't if I was Trinity, I wouldn't buy that, oh, you suddenly realize that I am the love of your life.
Yeah.
Because like he did all these things for Layla,
Mhm.
and then suddenly he has this
Mhm.
conflicting feelings, and he understands now what Layla felt like when she met Ross. But I was just again like, why are you relating to that? It's again a
Yeah.
matter of that's not good. Like
And okay, so you know what I would question if I was Trinity? I'd question what do you know what love is? Because you seem to fall in and out of love quite easily, man. I mean, okay, honestly, it makes sense that he would fall in love with Layla. Layla is his childhood best friend.
yeah.
She is apparently beautiful. And he is sort of her protector because everyone is like, oh, half demon, get out, and he's like, no, I don't mind that you're a half demon scum.
You're
It was like
making
you didn't have
Zane
to add
so
scum.
unlikable. Yeah.
No, but you didn't have to add scum. But anyways, uh, I get it. It makes sense. But then, bam, he meets Trinity. Oh wait, this is I love this girl. I love this girl.
Yeah.
So I'm good. I love. Who's to say he's not gonna meet another girl named I don't know, quadruple or something like something just some four in her name or whatever. Bone
No, and it
marrow,
it
and
wasn't
then he's gonna
just
fall in love with her too. I don't know.
yeah, and it wasn't convincing because every time he saw Layla, in the first book, he was really torn.
Yeah.
And so technically, like it's one thing, I know the concept of exes. Like, well, actually technically I
No,
don't
you
know.
don't. No, you don't. Okay, so for our listeners and for our viewers,
No.
my sister. We weren't gonna
No,
reveal this
let's
so early.
just
No,
cut
no,
this
no,
out.
no, no, no. I
I
want to
didn't
reveal
mean
this. I
it
want to
that
reveal this.
way.
She has dated only one person in her entire life, and she ended up marrying him. And no, it wasn't an arranged marriage because that is some arranged marriage shit. That is some soul mark or soulmate bullshit from a paranormal romance book. No, they met in high school and somehow fell in love and then boom. Isn't that annoying? They got married on their 10th anniversary too. Isn't that fucking annoying? You know what? I'm
I
but
didn't mean to, that's why I said I know about
no,
exes
you
as a
know you can't.
concept.
You don't talk. Don't talk.
Even my
take
husband would just be
take
like, how would you
what
know? Like we
what do you
both don't
mean?
know. We
Like
both know
you haven't
nothing.
okay, you haven't earned the right to talk about exes.
Okay, no, okay, fine.
get a divorce,
gonna-
and then we
I'm
can
gonna-
reconvene about this topic, okay?
I'm gonna move on because I touched the there's someone here
No,
who
because
can't handle
you're trying to
romance.
relate. You're trying to relate. You were trying to be one with the crew, but you
Oh,
don't
I'm so
deserve
sorry.
to be one with us, okay? You know?
Okay, so that's why I can't accept this love triangle.
Yeah,
That's why.
because my sister was like, wait, you can love more than one person? Like, I mean,
Like,
honestly, the main reason why she ended up marrying her husband is because it's too much effort to fall in love again, right? Isn't that the main reason? It's just like,
yeah,
oh,
honestly, we were
there's,
just both lazy.
I deserve one. After when you reach the eighth year mark or ninth year mark, you're like, damn, like I don't want to do this again with another one.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
like
just
god damn.
practical reasons. Like, let's just get married. I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And for tax purposes, really. Yeah.
No, not really.
But no, no,
No,
no.
but
So the
no, but
concept of
the
exes, I
point,
get what you're trying to say. I get what you're trying to
yeah,
say. The
but no, because the thing is,
You
of
learned
course
about
you
it in a
can love.
movie, right?
Yeah, I learned. Of course, you can love another person before. I understand,
Do you?
but
Did you
but
read that in Pride and Prejudice? Huh? Or
like honestly, even if I call my husband, he's gonna be like, I have no idea. Like,
like
how dare you?
we
Like,
started
I feel
dating when we
like
were 15.
he would outright consider love triangle as cheating, which I also agree on.
It is okay, okay, wait. I mean, yeah, it's emotional cheating. So even if
Yeah.
you're not doing
No,
anything
at
physical,
least
it's
if
still
there's a
emotional
promise
cheating.
between one, then it's cheating.
Yeah, well, obviously, but at the
Because
same time, I still feel
unless
like it's cheating because if you can't
no,
say I love
unless
you,
oh
like I
yeah,
love you
no,
is a promise, right?
I'm
I
not even
love you
talking
is a
about like
promise.
telling anyone I love you.
Yeah.
I meant just like traditional, like if two people are wanting you, then it would be cheating if you said something to one of them.
Ah. Hmm.
Yeah. But otherwise, like if it's a matter of just like two people pursuing you and you don't know who to choose in general,
Hmm.
like you haven't done anything with any of them, then I guess
That's
it's
not a love
fine. But
triangle. That's just like
yeah,
options.
yeah,
That's
exactly. Because
actually
love
wait,
triangle.
wait, wait. Let me teach you this new term. It's called dating. I know you don't know
You
what
know, actually,
that
the more I
means.
talk about it, I'm
Yeah,
realizing,
that's
wait,
just
I was talking about dating, not
you're
love
just talking about
triangle.
dating. Like literally dating is a love triangle for you. Isn't that insane?
I'm so sorry, Jennifer. I don't know what
Yeah,
love triangles are.
like you're crossing out your nose. You're like, oh wait, okay, I
I,
can't.
I
No,
can't
no, no.
criticize. I'm so sorry. I
Yeah,
confused it.
yeah. You're like on second thought, this is a perfect novel.
Yeah, yeah.
Much
Let
love
me,
to you, Jen.
let me withdraw all statements.
Yeah.
And please edit out the part where I said I know about the concept
Yeah,
of
I know. I
exes.
know about it. I
Even
think, and
I saw it like that moment,
yeah.
like, and I was like, shoot, like in my face, you'll see it when you go back. Like, okay, yeah,
I
I
mean, it's
misspoke.
kind of like we know the concept of the Roman Empire, or we know the
What a
concept
dick.
of like Mars and stuff. We don't have
What an
personal
asshole.
experience, but
Look, so just go see my relationship podcast.
yeah.
Just kidding.
No, it's
No, but
boring. It's boring. You have no experience. You don't know anything. Like imagine someone asks, "What do you do if your ex wants you back?" You're just gonna be like, "Wait, you're not with your ex? What do you mean? Like, what is an ex? Like,
what an asshole.
like, oh my
Anyway, so
god."
let's go
You
back to
you know
Layla and how I
anyone
understand her.
and anyone who's ever had an ex is gonna relate to me more than they relate to you. You know that, right? They're just gonna agree with me. Like,
Yeah.
like right now, you've lost all of your sympathy, your credibility. You're ruined. Your career's ruined.
Actually, I have so much credibility now in romance. So
In true
historical
love. Yeah,
romance,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
historical,
There.
yeah. If
Yeah,
you need my input,
yeah,
I can share it. That's
yeah.
probably why I love historical romances so much.
Because it's the
Um,
only thing that resembles yours. Like, oh my god.
excuse me.
You
It's
know,
it's a great genre. But anyway,
you could have had the
um,
decency of getting pregnant in high school. That would have helped. And yet, but you didn't
true.
even do that. You didn't even do
That's
that.
true.
You're just not committed to the role
Yeah.
that you've acquired. You know.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're talking.
I
I'll
didn't I
cut out
didn't
some stuff. It's fine. Well, we're talking about yeah. So you understand the concept of X's. Yeah. So you get why it's understandable
Stop.
for
Stop. Is that gonna be the headline? I understand
yeah.
the consequence.
Woman who has only touched one man understands what it's like to be a prostitute. It's like, wait, what?
What an asshole. Okay,
Okay.
Layla. I get you.
He's dating. He's just dating.
So please no one ask me on Jeopardy or something to describe what dating or
Yeah, it's like it's
or
dating
love
is when
triangle
you
is.
marry the person after 10 years, right?
My god, it's so look, I'm
Oh,
actually not this stupid, guys.
you're boring. Not that it's worse. You're boring and inexperienced.
Look,
You found
I
true
have
love. Do you have any
experience.
idea how disgusting that is?
I have experience through my books, my
Oh my
book
god.
reading.
Oh god.
No, but okay. So for me, now that you
Mm,
talked about what you dislike,
mm,
um, what I dislike is that the relationships, the characters have with these significant people in their lives that kind of affected the entire storyline. It's
mhm. Yeah.
really blown over. Like Misha is supposed to be a significant part
Yeah.
for Trinity. But when Zane enters, she
Mm,
completely forgets about him really. It's like just on the peripheral. Like she
yeah.
notices something's off with him.
Mm,
But like I'll just move on. And I guess that's probably the criticism I have when you have the kind of first person perspective, or well, not
yeah,
first
yeah.
person. This is third person. But
But it's
is it third
third
person?
person. No, no, no. It's
But
wasn't
no.
it first person limited? Like it was
Yeah.
limited to her, no? Uh
Did Zane even have? I think
no,
Zane
no.
had in the next books.
Okay, in the first book at least it
He
was only
had
her. It
yeah.
was
In the
only
first
her.
book, it was only her. So it's first person, and it's just really her perspective. And I do have trouble with that, especially for fantasy settings, because you have to have that world building, and you can't do that with when you're you have to be true to the character. And that's one thing that's great about her is she was really true, consistent to Trinity's character.
Yeah.
So everything that she observed was
Yeah.
something realistic for her
Yeah.
side.
I mean,
But then your reader misses out because
exactly.
it's
And
just
we talked
like what's
about this.
happening.
We talked
Yeah.
about the beginning, especially about how it was a bit of a slog to get through in the first
Yeah.
20, 30 pages because it's in first person perspective or yeah, and because of that the lot of the world building had to be done from her perspective, and it felt a lot like an exposition or info dump, you know,
Yeah.
because the whereas if it was third person perspective you could do it a lot more naturally, but
Yeah.
when you're doing it first person, okay, why is she explaining things that she grew up with, you know?
Mm.
Why is she like at some points it kind of feels like she's doing a YouTube tutorial like, hey guys, or like or a
Yeah.
vlog like, hey guys, my name is Trinity Marrow, you know, and I'm
Yeah. And
going
then
out.
it's also because her life starts at that age at 18, or I
Yeah,
think 18, so or
yes,
19, that age. And it seems like
18.
she didn't have any conscious thought beforehand because
Yes,
it's
yes,
so
yes.
so that's why I was just that's probably one of the things that kind of like the author kind of challenged herself by doing that. Um and it's something that a lot of the writers can use from fantasy. Like there are like this is why, you know, omnipotent like narratives are better because
It's
um
omniscient.
oh sorry. For me that it I just don't like first person perspective. It's very hard for me to love it. I think the only time that I really enjoyed a book that was first person was Perks of Being a Wallflower. Like that was executed so well. I
Okay.
don't know if you read that.
Wasn't a fan.
You weren't a fan. I really enjoyed that book.
Okay,
But it's
maybe it's
not.
because don't I don't have a wallflower personality. I'm not saying I have a outgoing personality, but I'm so loud. I just couldn't relate at all to the main character because he was like, oh, you know, even my own family kind of forgets me, you know, I kind of blend in. And I'm just like, what? I don't know what that's like. I'm so
But
loud.
you
I
don't
can.
need to know. Look at me. I relate to Layla. Apparently.
No, but
Really.
I just because for me, what I didn't like about Perks of Being a Wallflower. We're probably gonna cut this out, but I feel like saying this.
Mm.
I just felt like, bro, take some action. Why do you need
No, no, for sure.
yeah? Why do you need the other people to be the catalyst for you taking charge of your life? Just fucking do it yourself. Like, oh, you
No,
don't have friends? Go fucking play basketball. Go watch a movie with some people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I really enjoyed it because I think it was for that kind of character because that is there are people who are really antisocial and I can relate in that aspect, but not to the degree that he had. But I just enjoyed how the perspective was done because it fit. It made sense because the story lied within himself that
mm,
he's this wallflower. So it's only his perspective that matters because what he sees about people and then he perceives like and how he thinks that everyone perceives him, like that made sense. In the same way with another controversial one that we're gonna do for the next episode with unrequited.
yes,
That made sense. I mean, of course, like it was they did do first person for each character for the
yeah.
two main characters. So that one I even though I didn't like the book, they did it well. Like it was done
Thank
well.
you, thank you.
So this one, the problem here is because Zayn had so much angst, you can't abandon his perspective because
Yeah,
then you're not
yeah.
convinced that he truly like realized that he wasn't in love with Layla. Like what he felt was just this kind of connection. That's the implication that they set out later on, like
Yes.
how he like Trinity opened his eyes, but it wasn't that way either in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not convinced. Like even I feel like if I'm Trinity, like I don't think you love me enough. Like I
Yeah.
loved you more because I was sure.
Yes.
I was never conflicted. Like I have the same background with Misha. Like technically she could have easily fallen in love with Misha as well. But
Mm-hmm.
he was literally an afterthought, even as his supposed brother. Like she forgot him completely when it was Zayn.
Yeah.
When Zayn entered her life. And that
Mm-hmm.
was not the kind of zoomed in focus that Zayn had. I mean, he did have it during the while they were in the compound, but as soon as Layla was there was that tension, and then that was
Mm-hmm.
the angst between the characters, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm not convinced.
Oh, can I make an
Yeah, go.
interjection? This was another sign for me that I'm too old. When I was reading about like Zayn thinking, oh, you know, like she's the love of my life, but you know, you're something else. When I was reading those parts, I was just thinking, you're 18. You're fucking 18.
No,
Do
I
you
think
know what love is?
he's 21.
Okay, 21. You're
He's
21. Oh, love of your life, bro. You're not even 25% through your expected lifespan. Okay, because they're expected to live much longer, right? But it's like you love of your life. You loved her. Oh my
Yeah.
god, good job. And then now you love this new girl. Oh, okay, all right. Let's
And
see what
then
you think when
also
you're 30 years old. When you're fucking 30. When you're 30, Zane. Okay, Zane, listen to me. I'm gonna look into the camera for this. Zane, listen. I want you to come back to me when you're 30 years old and tell me how many loves of your lives have you had at that point? You must have, like, you must be a cat or something. You must have 9 lives, a new love for each life. Uh yeah,
okay,
so
now
I'm
it's
too
my
old.
turn. Now
Too
it's
old.
my turn. Trinity, girl, you were in a compound for years and you picked on one new guy that was close to your age and you go with him and you didn't meet anyone else. Like, and don't you dare criticize me and say like I met my husband in high school, because I still met people. Like, we were in long distance. This girl had no chance. She literally like just held on to him despite knowing that there's a third party in
you
his
know
mind.
it's that's so true. And also because she has the degenerative eye condition,
What
it
is it?
does it like at some point. I do wonder, is this guy taking advantage of her? Because she literally can't find or see other men. So I'm just like, Zane, I don't know about this, man. I think I think you should at least let her, like, go to the club, meet some people or something.
Exactly.
Go to college. What's her name? Trinity. Go to college, Trinity. Go to
Trin,
Trinity College.
Trin, please. You're
Trin.
18. That's why it was just um like I honestly thought there were gonna be time skips, because I
Yeah.
kept thinking they're too, like, it's just too much, because it is the whole mate thing.
But she's
If
not even
like
a
for
warden.
No, that's what
She's
I'm
a
saying. If it was like paranormal stuff, like, yeah, in the species, like, there's mating and that's instinctual. But this isn't. So she and like, it's a spoiler, but Zayn is gonna be her protector. And normally you can't date your protector, like you can't fall in love with them.
yeah.
But so it just makes no sense that she formed such a, like, they became soulmates all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And that's why I wasn't convinced by it. The the romance kind of felt forced for me.
Yeah.
But let me just say now, let's go to the good stuff, like, that we liked. And I'm gonna start because I feel like you need to calm your thoughts from all
Okay.
the things that you hated. So I'm gonna start. Contrary to how long we've been, shitting on this book, I would actually rate this a 4 star, because I still was pleasantly surprised by the characterization of Trinity. She felt like a very real character for her age. And then at the same time, what she was, uh she was supposed to be like this person who was destined to save the world or something. um but at the same time, she was selfish. Like, she didn't want that pressure, and she would complain a lot, like, okay, why am I not prepared? Like, I was trained, but I don't know what I'm supposed to, how am I supposed to help?
Mhm.
And it's so, like, realistic, because in that sense, like, yeah, like, she was told vague things, and then she's supposed to save the world, like, at a go signal, by the way. It's just like,
Mm.
what is the signal? And then there was like theory, whatever his name is, would just say, you'll know. Like it's stuff like that. Like, oh,
It
you'll
reminds me
know.
of Ted Lasso. Like,
Yeah,
what's my
that's
signal?
the sign.
I love that. That
So
was I love that. But
yeah, so
4 stars though. 4 stars. Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I rated the next books are much lower, but
yeah.
then again, I am pretty generous with rating on Goodreads.
I'm pretty
But
generous too.
no, you're not compared to me. Like I'm really generous. Like I'm really generous. But for yeah, 4 stars for this because it was as soon as I got past that kind of hurdle of information dump, which is
Yeah.
very common for all fantasy books. I mean,
True.
it's
True.
there's a reason why it's always quite a
It's
hefty
difficult.
book.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
difficult.
because you have to get past
You're
the world
creating a new
building.
world. You're creating a new world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this instance, there wasn't world building because
They're just in Virginia the entire time, or in Washington
yeah,
D.C.
like it I just felt like okay, this is like a desert in Vegas, like like a specific desert that's so isolated. That's what I kept thinking. And then they went to California. Like I was like, okay. So and it was just for me, the good thing was how strong she was despite like all these insecurities, because a lot of the times when authors try to make a character realistic and put on these insecurities, they're also just it's like crippling them the entire book. Here,
Yeah.
no, she's confident in her abilities, but she's just insecure whether people actually love her for her or like are doing it for because most of the time they just meant protecting her. So she didn't
Mhm.
feel secure enough like what it was about. And you know, she was rightly insecure about Zayn. Like girl, move on. Like this is not the guy for you. I kept thinking like, no. So I don't know. I mean, for the most part, I it was kind of this fast pace for me. As soon as I got past that like first 40 pages, I think I read 3 books within the day because I just needed to know.
Yeah.
So I think that this was a great start for us, like for Jennifer. I would actually read
I
her
would.
other
I
books, but
totally.
I
Yeah.
would yeah, but I would be selective as well. Like I'm not gonna read Layla and
Yeah.
Roth's
No, I'm gonna read
yeah.
that. Her most recent one. It's like Blood and Ash or something. Yeah. I'll put it up on the screen for people. But yeah, I think Jennifer, um, really good writer in my opinion.
Yeah.
She and at least for her main characters, they're quite good. Like she really she fleshes them out quite well in my opinion.
So what how many stars?
So okay, I'm gonna look into the camera for this one. Okay. Taking into account take excuse me, do you have a problem? Uh, okay, so just gonna put my mic over here. Taking into account the fact that this is the first book in the series, taking into account that um, she has to create a new world for me, and she has to introduce all these new characters and all of that, and apparently the main character is going blind, and I was convinced it was for a supernatural reason. Uh, I think well, what I gave this on Goodreads is actually a 3.5 stars, 3.5 stars out of 5. And the reason why is because I really loved the main character. I actually liked her love interest, Zane. I like the fact that the world is a bit unique. Okay, so maybe the world building wasn't that great, but I did like that they were using gargoyles or
Yes.
wardens, whatever you want to call them. Like who thinks of gargoyles? Like who thinks like, hey, you know what's sexy? Gargoyles. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm convinced that Jennifer L. Armentrout really love that 90s cartoon, Gargoyles. Like, I don't know if you've seen that, but it was really big in the 90s or early mid 90s. So I think that's so unique, and I think it is a great start to this author. I don't think I'll read the rest of the series though. I actually don't. Yeah, I don't think I'll read the rest of the trilogy. Now here's
This
the
is
reason
so
why.
blasphemous for
Yeah,
me. Like
I
if I
know. I didn't.
start
I didn't
a
inform her. I
series,
didn't tell her about this beforehand. Um, but yeah, that's why. But let me explain why I'm not gonna finish the trilogy. Okay, so the reason why is because
okay, so
I
for
feel like
podcast listeners, he keeps changing the color of his video. Earlier it was black and
it's to
white
add
because
dramatic. It's to add
to
dramatic effect.
no to emphasize how he didn't know she was blind, I guess. And now
No, that's not how going blind works. First of all, it's not how it works. It's not going color blind.
no, I'm talking about your perspective because you saw things as black and white.
I don't see color. Anyways, so right now I'm using a sepia filter on my video. So where was I? Yeah, I'm not gonna finish the trilogy because I think that the first book already ends in a satisfying place. The first book, so this is a spoiler, but if you've reached this part, you've probably heard a lot of spoilers already. The first book, no surprise, ends with her and Zane being happy, Layla and Roth happy. The villain, or at least the villain for this book, has been vanquished. Everything's pretty chill, and I know it's gonna get worse. I know it's gonna get worse in the second book. I know it's gonna get worse in the third book because that's how books go. You need conflict, right? I have nothing against conflict, but I guess I don't love the other characters enough for me to deal with that conflict, because I only like the two main characters. Because of that, I'm okay with them being happy already. I'll just assume that the trilogy ends with them being happy. I feel like I'm correct in that assumption. So I don't feel the need to finish it. I will, however, be reading the author's other books because I think she has a strong voice in her writing. Her prose is smooth. I think she has a very unique perspective on things, and I think it can only get better from here. So the 3.5 stars may seem a bit low, but they're not indicative of how I feel about the author and the possibility of reading her other books. So yeah, I think this is good.
Since he's not reading the second book, like I'm gonna share it with him. It's not really a spoiler because it's kind of like it shouldn't even have mattered, but it was so annoying about like it was surprisingly the second book was better than the last. And normally all trilogies, the second book is the worst. Like any middle book, usually it's the worst because it's like a filler book.
Exactly, because it's normally supposed to be 2 books, but people keep making it into trilogies.
Yeah, no, like marketing publisher wise, they're gonna say no, it has to be 3. So I mean, I guess that's where for Six of Crows, like that author is really adamant. Like she draws the line. She does duologies a lot.
Yes.
So I would like to read her next.
You're talking about Lee Bardugo. Bardugo.
So for that for the next book for Layla's friend, supposedly they're her best friend and is also like a really close friend to Zane. Apparently they had a like a rebound relationship.
Oh yeah, Stacy.
Yeah. So wow, why do you remember her name but you don't remember Misha?
Stacy's mom has got it going on. Stacy
enters into that picture and she's like a massive bitch. Like she's all protective. Like, why are you here to Trinity and whatever? And it was just so unnecessary because like really Layla wasn't enough. Like of a kind of like Layla wasn't enough to prove that Zane won't love you as much as you love him. Like that was and the thing is like there was so many like Zane had that principle, like he fought with her, like, oh, you're gonna be a bitch over this, like, you're reasonably jealous, and so I'm not gonna talk to you. And he was being an ass.
Yeah.
And it was typical. Like, this is why I'm just like, you can't
Mm,
have this kind of true love aspect at this age when it's not mate concept
yeah.
because of this. Like, this is like it
You
was like
know,
modern fiction, the
mhm.
typical ploys that teenage angst, like, kind of, is it like
Because
now,
like
like
the thing is,
having been married, like, I can say this for a fact that um there's a moment where you look at your partner and you're like, wow, we've grown up. Like, because the most pitiful things that you used to fight up over, like, it's this petty jealousy. Like, he wanted to prove a point, like, no, she's just my friend. Why can't you trust me? And it's just like, why don't you just say, oh, yeah, you're right. That was such a weird thing, because Stacy literally jumps on him and like hugs him, like the like with her legs and whatever, and he's
yeah,
like, I can't believe you're jealous of her, like, we didn't have anything more than this. I'm just like, what? This is so
yeah.
immature.
You know, the
There's
thing
just
is, this is
no
the problem with
no no
like,
no wait, just before I forget,
yeah,
this is why Ted Lasso, like, I'm gonna bring him up again, because Roy and Keely, perfect.
yeah, that's true.
Like, that's the mature thing. Okay, so
That's
what
true.
what were you saying?
This is my issue with the fact, like with these teenage books. Don't get me wrong. I still, they're kind of like a guilty pleasure because there's something so simple about them sometimes. Like, it's like, oh God, I have to finish high school. And I'm like, oh really? Like, you're like, oh, you do? Like, where are we gonna go for college? And I was like, oh, that's it's a bit it's so simple. They're not even thinking about money. That's how you know. Like, they're just like, oh, that's a real fantasy book. That's a fantasy book for me. When I read a book and the main characters don't mention money once, and I'm just like, oh God, yeah, this is world building. this is
Yeah.
this is amazing world building, beautiful writing, great concept, awesome. But
Yeah.
so I still like teenage books, but here's one thing. Trin, Zane, Layla, whatever. How do you guys know what love is? Like, have you left your country before? Like, have you how many people have you met? Like, how many people have you actually met in your life? Four? I don't know. Like how, like, I don't know. I'm not saying that it's impossible to meet someone at 16 and love them. I mean, you're kind of an example, right? But at the same time, these little incidents, like what, you're jealous because a woman jumped on top of me and I also used to sort of date this woman. Like, you're jealous because of that, you stupid bitch.
Yeah.
that that's not gonna happen when you're in your mid 20s or your even early
Yeah, you're
20s.
just
Like, it
gonna know
shouldn't happen.
boundaries. That's what I was
Yeah, you
gonna
just
like.
no. If it, like, honestly, if that still happens, like if you're in your 30s or late 20s, and then you're like, oh, I'm not comfortable with you, like with your ex girlfriend basically jumping on top of you and like being so touchy. The reaction isn't gonna be, what? You're insane. The reaction is gonna be like, now that I think about it, you're right. Yeah.
No, and
Yeah. It
honestly, like, that just wouldn't happen unless
wouldn't happen. It wouldn't
that
happen.
man is
I,
like a serial cheater, or like vice versa. Because it's
yeah.
just,
It no.
it's not like
And
I'm
we're not
and
judging
I
you
know,
if
like,
that's what you
no, and
want.
I know, like, friendships with opposite sex, and like the whole jealousy aspect for and all, but this one just wasn't realistic. That Zane was so prideful, like, and he, like, after they solved the fight, like, he's trying to insinuate that, no, I'm obsessed with you, like, how can you not see this? And then I meant, like, Trinity is just like, how, like, you literally sided with her, like, she's being so rude to me. and then you got mad that I was upset. because she kind of put the brakes on the relationship when she saw
Good.
that. And
Self-respect.
exactly. And
Self-respect.
then
What's
she
up?
felt so awful, like he wouldn't talk to her anymore and blah blah blah. And I was like, come on, like just told like continue with that kind of mentality. But
I
of
I have to
course,
say, to all the women in or
to all
men
the
in
women I
Trinity's
loved before.
position, yeah, to all the women or men in Trinity's position, you can do better. You can do so much better.
Yeah.
You don't settle for a Zane.
Yeah.
Settle for a dog. A dog is better.
Yeah. That you
More
always
loyalty.
have you always have to have that unconditional love aspect if you're gonna start them young.
Yeah, actually, no.
Like
The,
if
the
you
thing is, the dog will teach them that, this is what true love is
unless
like.
wait, unless your dog is trigger.
Okay, yeah. So our dog is a fucking asshole. We love him. Still an asshole though. But for the most part, most dogs are pretty great. Our dog
No,
is just a prick.
our dog loves us, but it's like a 5 minute limit.
No,
Like
our dog is kind of like Zane. Doesn't really know
yeah.
what love is. Doesn't really know what love is.
It's true.
So
I've had so many dogs, but this is the only dog where I have to fight for his love.
yeah, this is the only dog where you actually have to earn it. You have to, like,
Exactly.
every day you have to do something, and then he'll be like, "All right, I'll play with you. I'll play with
Okay,
you. What's
I
up?"
need you. I
Yeah,
do
and
like you.
like whenever I'm there, I'll play the piano, and then he'll lay down on my foot, and it's so adorable. It's beautiful. But the moment I stop, he'll look at me like, "Did I give you permission to
Yeah.
stop?"
You
You
have to
know?
provide him a service for him to show
Yeah,
affection. So really
exactly.
this might be Zane. Oh, and then on the third book, it's a complete turnaround. Like even like middle of the second book, like now it's Zane who's like so sure of his love and obsessed with her. And
Mm-hmm.
it just wasn't convincing to me. So I like I continued on because you're right. Like when it comes to Jennifer's overall writing style, it's great. Like
Yeah.
I she I didn't even though I didn't like the limitations of the first person perspective, I
Mm-hmm.
still enjoyed reading it because of how she
Yes.
wrote everything. Like
Yeah.
um everything with the um it was seamless when she had conversations and
Mm-hmm.
everything. It didn't bother you, like you wouldn't even notice it so much that it was first
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
except when you're trying to understand the characters, because that
Mm.
was the huge impediment for her. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think we should cut it to this now because
Yeah. I
uh,
think that's so. This is 4 hours.
and
But
it's just one book.
honestly, it's a lot shorter than I expected. But yeah, I so 3.5 stars for me, 4 stars for
Four for
you.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
Um.
definitely reading her again eventually, but I would love any suggestions. Um
Yeah.
correct us. Um
Yeah.
share your
We
thoughts as
love that
well.
engagement. We love that
Yeah.
engagement.
Anything,
Yeah.
because we're really open to trying out new books and new
Yes.
authors. So this was a great start, losing our
Yeah.
virginity to Jennifer. I
Yeah.
mean, who wouldn't want that?
So if you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us at Booklings Podcast. And then if you also want to contact us for specific book recommendations or specific criticisms, you can email us at booklingspodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to send us free books, our phone number is 090. I'm kidding, but no, but seriously, if you want to send us free books, please. I'm here. I'm here for
Yeah.
you.
Contact
Yeah.
us.
Contact us immediately. But so yeah, I'm Gian,
I'm
and
Nikki.
we are Booklings. Each week we will be coming to you with a new book or a new theme related to books. and we'll most likely be disagreeing with each other or arguing with one another, but it's all in good fun. Unless she insults my favorite books, in which case she's dead to me. But for the most part, it's all in good fun.
Okay. On that end, have a great day, people.
Have a great day.